Okay, everyone, welcome to the Dad Cave, or this is what
Hey,
we're this is what we're gonna call the I guess the podcast section of the channel here, the Dad Cave. I'm here with my longtime friend Roberto. We've known each other since I was in seventh grade and you were in eighth grade.
yeah, yeah,
And
definitely.
we've been friends for a very very long time. I mean, guy friendships are a lot different than girl friendships. I try to explain that to my wife all the time. Guys can go months and months and months without ever talking, and then once you start talking again, it's like it picks up right where it left off.
Oh, dude,
Um,
especially now at our age, it's instead of months, it's like years, right? Like next thing you
yeah,
know, it's like 3 years, fucking 8 years passed, and we haven't spoken, but like we talk, or like I'll send you something like video game related. Next thing you know, we fucking like it's like it was yesterday, we were just chilling.
yeah, and those relationships are special to me, particularly because I am very busy. I'm married with four kids, so it's not like I feel bad sometimes because I feel like sometimes people might think it's neglect or it's just like you're not keeping up, but like life does kind of get really super busy, and it's not like I'm just
Of
neglecting
course.
people. It's just I have other things that are slightly higher on the priority list. So it's never
Priority
like
list,
a
bro. It's
yeah.
cool.
It's
Cool.
never a
I
sign
mean,
of disrespect, but I'm glad that you were able to come on and we have a good topic of conversation today. But
hmm
before we get started, because this is our first one, why don't you give me a little bit of your background and like what you do like on social media wise and all that, and then we'll get into our main topic.
Right. My legal name's Roberto, but on social media, y'all could call me Mysta G. Um, the influence, my dad is called Mr. G when he worked, so I was like, I can't go off of that. So, one of my favorite series is Batman, right? Especially the animated series. Yeah, there you go. Especially the animated series, and a very important and popular character, Miss Harley Quinn. What does she used to say? Mr. J. So
Mm-hmm.
I just took that and then changed it with the G, and yeah, here we go. Um, I'm a big One Piece fan, as you guys can see. Got the shirt on, got my hat. I also have like 11 One Piece tattoos, and then all my DC, some Marvel, all my fandoms.
Hell yeah.
Uh, but I have a One Piece podcast, Straw Hat Sit Down on YouTube, Spotify, like all podcast platforms. We have over 300 subs. We've been going on for like 3 years now, following, reviewing the manga and everything like that. So follow us on all socials. I'm always down to talk about One Piece, but I'm also down to talk about anything nerdy, especially RPGs, JRPGs. That's something that you and I definitely bonded over as we grew up when we were younger. Final Fantasy. We got comics, fucking movies, sports, like you name it, man. Like we used to play a lot of basketball together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lefty,
Yeah, yeah, for sure, man. For
shit.
sure, man.
Yeah,
It's been a very long road. It's so funny because we're going to be talking about today specifically. We're going to be talking about a bunch of different things, but our main topic of conversation is Clair Obscur Expedition 33. So you just recently finished the game. I finished it a little while ago. I did a second playthrough, and I think I have like everything still fresh in my mind.
yeah.
But if you noticed, we did do like a spoiler free review on the channel. This is going to be heavy spoilers. So like if you haven't finished the
Oh,
game,
100%.
definitely like don't watch this just yet. I mean, you can always come back to it, but for right now, like I definitely want to kind of pick your brain and like get your perspective on how you went through the game and a couple of things I'd like to touch on because like you mentioned earlier, we have played a lot of RPGs in our lifetime, and it's funny because I did with my buddy Andrew. Shout out to him. I did like a top 10 favorite games list
Mm,
with him like a couple weeks ago, and Final Fantasy VIII was my number one like favorite game of all time. And
damn.
yeah, it's crazy because as I was making the list, my list was very diverse. Like I had stuff there from like Guitar Hero and like Galaga. Like I had so many different games, but I number one had to be an RPG because those are the games that you spend the most time playing. So, what are
Oh.
some of your favorite RPGs?
Well, first of all, everyone, go check out the video, the spoiler-free video. That was fantastic. I remember you sent it to me. to
Thank
check it
you.
out, and I loved it. It was great. Um, Claire, I love the game. It is still fresh in my mind. I actually, so real quick, I actually played it when it first came out because I was hyped. You know, I love anytime a new RPG comes out, I am OD hyped and I'm ready. And then I always do this with my games. I get near the end, literally, like last boss type of shit, and then I stop playing for like a long time because like it's just a bad habit of mine. And like 2 years ago, I was beating all my games. I went back and I was like, yeah, I'm fucking Jedi Fallen Order, fucking God of War, God of War One, then Ragnarok, Final Fantasy, and then I burnt Final Fantasy Seven Rebirth. No, not Rebirth. Right, the first one is remaster, right? No,
The first one's remake, and then rebirth is the
remake,
second one.
remake, right? Yeah. So, bro, I was on a tear of beating games, and then like I was like, let me rebeat remake before rebirth, and also the DLC and Crisis Core because they had
Oh,
the
they had a
rematch,
reunion. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They came out with a reunion. Yeah.
right? So I played that, and then when I got to rebirth, bro, I burned myself out so much. I still have yet to finish rebirth. So, uh,
Dude, it's funny. I hate to cut you off. It's funny you say
no,
that.
no,
I was so I loved remake and I played it and I beat it. And then rebirth came out. I was so hyped for rebirth, and like I got in rebirth. I got all the way to like the final continent, like where you go, and
oh,
then I stopped playing. Like I haven't beaten it to this day. I haven't beaten it. But I stopped playing, and then the effort it took for me to try to get back into it after doing like because I did every quest, I did everything was completed.
mm,
Dude, it would take me like an hour just to set my materia and to set all my skills, and then like I would have no time to play the actual game, so I just completely stopped. I never
yeah,
beat it, but I'm gonna go back and play it just so it could be like like an actual playthrough.
yeah.
But I didn't like some of the stuff that they changed in Rebirth.
Okay.
Like
I only got to like chapter 8, dude. I just like when I got to like I got like the golden saucer and I was just like I'm burnt out right now. I'm
yeah,
gonna stop playing the game for a bit.
it felt long. Like it was good. Like the world was vast and everything was gorgeous, seeing like Gungaga and all that stuff. But like
Yeah,
it felt like there was a lot of stuff to do, and it kind of like my OCD prevents me from not completing every single mission in that area until I move to the next one. And it's like oh, I did all this stuff and like finally I can now like continue with the main story, but then the main story you get like a little chunk and then you're back in a new area, so it's just like
yes.
it was
Bro,
exhausting.
dude, I feel that overwhelmingness, right? Like that's how I felt about the new Star Wars Fallen Order. Is it Survivor?
Yeah, Survivor.
Right. Bro, when that map opened up and I was like, "Oh, I don't feel like doing this right now." Same thing with hell, Ghost of Tsushima. After like the Act 1, I went like I put like good 30 hours and I did everything in that. Next thing you know, Act 2 starts. This map got like 3 times bigger and I said, "Oh, no. I
Yeah,
can't. I can't." But that's when I've learned recently that I just got to take it, little by little.
yeah,
Just like with like Lego sets, just take it by one bag at a time and you're good. Next thing you know, you beat the game and you're like, "Oh shit, that was easy." But
right.
back to your question real quick. I know I went off. You asked me some of my favorite games, right?
Yeah.
Because we were making the list. Well, I love Final. I know both of us love Final Fantasy. I love Zelda.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom were good, but they're not my favorite Zelda games. I still prefer like Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask.
Yeah, the
I just like,
classics are hard. The
yeah,
classics are hard to beat, man. And I
yeah,
love
especially
Majora's Mask. Majora's Mask is great.
yeah, yeah. But like, I love those games. Mass Effect. I remember you
Okay.
and I made a trade one time. I had Final Fantasy VII, the physical copy, and you had Mass Effect, and so we made a trade. And then I think there's like one of like the last times like we like physically saw each other. And then I went to high school. You were still in 8th grade, and shit happens. And you got to high school, and then
Yeah.
like but like I'll never forget, dude, because I was never a big shooter.
Yeah.
But Mass Effect, the third person of that, the storytelling, the your decisions carrying over from one, two to three. Like, dude, I love Mass Effect. It's actually one of my next tattoos that I'm gonna be getting. I
Hmm.
fucking love Normandy, Captain Shepard. Like, that's one of my favorite series. And also freaking Xeno Saga. I know
Nice.
a lot of people play Xenoblade because that's what they have on the Switch and what's most popular right now. But back in the day, back on PS2, it used to be Monolith made Xeno Saga. There's 3 games, 3 episodes. Originally, it used to be 6 episodes, but it wasn't too popular, so they ended up condensing the whole story into just 3 games. But man, I don't know if you've ever played those games. I love the turn-based RPGs. Um, and it's also like a space saga.
Hmm.
So I know you love Star Wars just like I do,
Yeah, of
and like,
course,
and
of
so
course.
like, yeah, RPGs and space. I'm like, oh, I'm in there. So
Absolutely.
I don't know if
Absolutely.
you've played those games. Definitely check that out. And then a final one would definitely be Legend of Dragoon. I just love RPGs, bro. Like, there's
Yeah.
so much
So
there.
I started playing Legend of Dragoon. And immediately, this is actually a good segue into E33. I started playing Legend of Dragoon on my like I have like a retro gaming handheld
Oh
with a
yeah,
bunch of with a
does it look like a Game Boy or something like that?
yeah, it looked like the one that I had. I don't have it anymore, but the one that I had looked like a Game Boy.
Oh shit,
It did have a joystick though, so that you could play like CD based games.
that's badass.
Yeah, it was awesome. I just recently got into like retro emulation and all that. So yeah, I was playing E33 on my computer, and then like in bed at night to wind down, like I would just play on my Game Boy. And Legend of Dragoon was one of the games that I had heard that was heavily influenced for Expedition 33. So I played that,
Oh,
and
big time.
immediately, like that first fight with the QTE, I was like, this is Expedition 33. And then, spoiler alert for those who haven't played Legend of Dragoon, right before the end of Act 1 or the end of
Oh,
Disc
dude,
1,
dude.
you lose a major character in your party.
Oh,
And it
dude.
was it was it was kind of funny because I was playing E33 and I just lost Gustav and my heart was broken. And then I'm playing Legend of Dragoon and freaking Lavitz gets killed and I'm like, what the hell is going on with these people killing off these major Like, he was my favorite character in the game to that point. Like, I was like,
Yes.
what? I mean, and then you get the king or whatever, and it's essentially a reskin of Lavitz. But
Yeah,
I was not expecting that. Like, I was like,
dude.
what is going on here? But
I remember you hit me up. I remember because like uh so yeah, I had played E33 early, right, when it first came out. So like when I saw that you started playing it on Facebook, like you had posted about it, and I was like, oh shit. And you had talked about Act 1. And I was like, then I messaged you and I was like, ah shit. Like, that shit was OD, bro. Right? Next thing you know, you beat the game before I did it. I was like, oh fuck. And then you were like, yo, you gotta beat it. I was like, all right, bet.
yeah, yeah.
Uh but dude, when that shit was crazy, but like because I played Legend of Dragoon early on, that that twist is always in the back of my mind now in any fucking story. Like,
Sure.
because that's such a fucking, like, dude, that throws you off. And but honestly though, in E33, when Gustav got killed, dude, I was I was in shambles, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I was not okay. Like, fucking Robert Pattinson, my guy Gustav, like, dude, what, Charlie Cox was the voice actor, right?
Yeah.
Uh, like, he was so cool, and to die the way he did, and I wasn't expecting it, and just like Lavitz wasn't expecting that either. So like, but
Yeah.
like, oh man, that's what I love about RPGs, the storytelling. We had these characters early on for not even that long compared to the rest of the game, right? We don't even have Gustav or Lavitz that long, but we got so connected to them,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and when they got fucking murked, like, that shit hurt, dude. Like,
Yeah.
I'm still not okay. Like,
Yeah.
trust
It's
issues.
it's actually super interesting. I haven't played a game like E33 that I've really been fully invested in probably since Final Fantasy X, to be honest. But That that I was not expecting it. And it's like I kind of got a little petty with it, like for it, at least in my first playthrough, because I don't know what comes later, right? But in my first playthrough, Gustav gets killed, and it's like you've been playing as this guy the whole time. It's like his story, and they just
At
murder
least, at
him.
least, at least we thought.
Right, at least we thought. And then they murder
Yeah.
him, and then Verso comes in, and I got so many opinions about Verso as a character, but we'll get into it. But Verso comes in, and he just kind of like, forces himself into the party, and I was like, I'm not using this guy. Like, who is this guy? Dude, he sat on my bench the entire game. I went full on
Oh.
girl power for the whole game, and I didn't use Verso or Monoko at all my first playthrough. And then I got to the end of the game, and I was just like, like, you. So basically, what happens is you play as Gustav, you fall in love with Gustav, he gets taken away from you, he dies. And then it's like, okay, now it's Mael's story. So Mael's the main character, you're doing or whatever, blah, blah, blah. There's this huge mystery surrounding her character. And then the end of Act 2 happens, and you're just like, why can't this game just, like, be a normal transition? Like, why does everything have to be so crazy?
Yeah, yeah.
End of Act 2 happens, and you're just like, what? I mean, and then I'm like, all right, cool. So we're going to Act 3, and Act 3 is a little short. There's a lot of side content, but like as far as like the main story goes, it's really short.
Facts.
At the end of the game, the whole time you're playing as Mael, she's a badass. She does so much damage. Her move pool is great. And then you get to that final, like, are you gonna fight as Verso or are you gonna fight as Mael? And I was just like, how do I make this decision right now? Like, how you're so invested in these characters, you're so invested in you're basically living in the Matrix, right? You understand the world now that you live in is a creation.
Mm-hmm.
And then it has that existential question of, is creation as important as actual life? Now, me and my morality and like my moral code is, we grew up watching cartoons and reading comics and superheroes. Like, you try to save as many people as you can. You try to save everyone.
Yeah.
But for me personally, like, I understood like why Verso was so hell-bent on destroying the canvas, because he wanted to get his family out of that cycle of grief.
Yep.
And, when it comes to like dealing with loss and depression and all that, and it is a very difficult thing to move past it, especially when you lose a family member, especially in like a tragic accident. And Mael is essentially a shell of herself. She doesn't love the life that she has, but part of the healing journey is to learn how to cope with that and move on with that. And that really resonated with me with Verso. So I had to choose Verso. And I'm glad that I did, because Mael's ending is terrifying. I don't know if you saw it.
I did.
It's
So I actually picked that one first because I was like,
oh
yo, I'm fucking Team Mael the whole time at first, I was like, yo, that's my girl, yo, fuck Verso, But then I'm watching this shit, and then I was like, oh no, I was like, this is frightening. I was
yeah.
like, yo, so I had to go back, and then I did Versos, and I was like, nah, this is the right. After doing both, right, I was like, this is the right ending for me is definitely Verso's ending.
I 100% agree. And it's like, the developers have come out and stated that there is no like some articles say there is no true ending. Other articles say that Verso's ending is a true ending. But it's so weird, because what it does is it essentially, there's two types of people, right? There's the Mael fans and there's like the Verso fans, and it's like it's not an easy decision to make. Like, neither of the endings are a happy ending. It's more of like, what is the lesser of two evils, right? Yeah. And after you finish the game and after you go back and you analyze everything, Mael is a 16-year-old girl who is struggling with grief and acceptance, and she does not feel accepted in her own world. Just like us as real people, we always dive into something where we feel, whether it's video games or music or art or anything, any type of
hobbies, anything,
any type of hobby you fall into, you feel loved, you feel accepted, you feel happy in that environment. And that's essentially what the canvas was to her. It was her escape from her real life. But
Facts.
Verso's whole point was you have to learn how to grow past it, and staying in the canvas is only going to end up killing you. So at the end, when you see her with the paint on her eyes, like she's essentially the new paintress or whatnot. So she's just repeating the cycle of grief from her mother Aline. But
Mm.
what did it for me was so Verso is the typical like tortured soul. He has a life that he doesn't want. He suffers from like the eternal immortality of just not having an end to his existence. That Mael ending where he's literally begging her like, I don't want this life, like unpaint me, I don't want to,
Like
like
stop
stop it
painting, like
already.
please.
And
Oh,
she forces him to essentially she's essentially a puppet
yeah,
master there.
yeah,
And I was just like, yo,
yeah.
that is terrifying to me. I'm so glad I picked Verso's ending.
No, 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 facts. And then when that happened, I was like, oh no, this is not right. I was like, this is not what I wanted. Because like, so that's why like you when you brought up each act, how like that's why I love this game, right? Because it just brings out so many different topics and like talk about escapism. Like a lot of people deal with escapism differently, like you said, hobbies or drugs or other things. You know, like you know many different ways, and it goes deep, right? Some people like to smoke weed, some people like to do other things, and even with smoking weed, it could go deeper than that. You could, like do it one like at night. Some people like to smoke every day. Like it just there's different levels, and like what I loved about this game, especially with each act, because it goes it shows you the highs and the lows, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
That especially that you go through in life, right? Like you go through the high, like you're getting like we're getting superpower, we're going through everything, we're about to fight the boss, we beat the boss, the next thing you know, fucking Gustav gets killed.
Yep.
And then you back to square one and then you just don't know what to do. And but that's just how it is with grief because you don't know when it's going to hit you, right? Like it
Mm-hmm.
could hit you at any moment. But it's just about like how you adapt and how you cope with it quickly, like in a healthy way, of course, you know, and that's what you're trying to find. And then like, at the end of the game, like you feel like Mael is getting to that point, right? Like you're hoping. And then she's just like,
Right.
nah, yep. And then she's like back to it, but she's like, oh, but it's better this time. And that's what you keep telling yourself that the delusion, right? That
Right.
delusion, like especially as an example, like someone that tries to like stop smoking marijuana or drinking alcohol, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they're like, oh, I stopped drinking for a day. You know, they need to go day by day or sometimes even hour by hour. Like, oh, you know, I keep stacking them up until one day you slip. The next thing you know, you're hiding about when how much you're drinking or like you're going, like, you know, just trying to hide it from your significant other or whatever. But like, it just shows you like it, it like the game is so good at showing like you could keep lying to yourself
Right.
or you could face reality and learn to get over it. And that's what
Right.
Verso was trying to help Mael get past
Right.
for herself, not just for him, but for herself. And like, yeah, in her in her soul, she said, "Nah, I'm gonna stay in this. I'm gonna
Nah,
chill.
I'm gonna do me.
I'm gonna chill.
But
Put me acid.
it's yeah, that whole element of denial is very powerful, you know, because like you said, you keep
Yeah,
telling yourself, oh, it's different this time, it's different this time, and then you fall into the same pattern. And the thing for me is like it's an imperfect choice because you know what, it was nice that she brought everybody back. It was nice that
it was.
she brought oh, what's her name, I'm blanking on her name. It was nice that she brought CL's husband back, and
Oh yes,
it was
everybody,
awesome. Yeah,
all the kids and
yeah,
everybody. Yeah,
it
yeah.
was awesome seeing Gustav and Sophie again at the end, and I was like, oh, like yes, like you know, like Gustav is the man, like blah blah blah. But then that last scene of Verso just slowly walking out, and like I don't know if anybody else picked up on this, but the one artistic choice that they made in the game was when they went to that gray color palette, like when everything's black and white, it was because it was showing like a negative moment or like an ominous moment. So like when you see that grayscale come out, you know something bad's gonna happen. So as soon as it went from full color, everything's all happy and go lucky, and then it
Mhm.
switches to that grayscale, and
Mhm.
I was just
Mhm.
like, oh no, like
And
what's gonna? And then Verso comes out looking all tortured and old, and like I can't believe I'm still a slave to all this.
yeah, yeah.
And I was just like, bro, I thank God every time that I picked Verso's ending because that other one is just so tragic in its own right.
Dude, it is, and you know what's crazy? It's like he's stuck, like he's stuck in this cycle, right? And he it's like he's just waking up as he's walking towards the piano. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like because it's like forcing him into this like state of like what's it called? Like being automatic, not like being like a zombie in a way. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
like I did it when I was first diagnosed with sleep apnea. That's how I was like living pretty much like damn, I am blanking on a term right now, but kind of like a robot, just going through day to day shit,
Sure.
right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like that's when he's like waking up right when he's about to go to the piano, and then that's when he realized like he gets like that quick like self consciousness, and then he's
Right.
like fuck, like
Yeah.
like ah shit, like damn, I'm stuck here. And you know what's crazy? Like going back and rewatching that ending, um, sure you see everyone's like there and they're all happy, but all those smiles and like their eyes look all
They're
fake.
very
Like they're all
sinister.
dead.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
you know,
It's
yes.
very like yeah, perform for me, monkey. Like it's very like whole like dude, this is and you know what, dude? Like yeah, I mean that shit was terrifying. Like you know
It is.
that it was scary because it's like
It is.
okay, well she just is gonna become the paintress, and she was not able to break her cycle, and it I feel bad for Renoir because he like when you fight him at the end, he's basically telling them like, no, we have to destroy the canvas and pull you out, and then you beat him, of course, and
And he's there, kids.
he's trying to trust his daughter to make the right decision
Yep.
because he loves his daughter and he wants he wants her well being, like that's what he's looking out for, and she just kind of continues to do whatever the hell she wants. So it's just like, but you have to understand too, like she's a 16-year-old girl who's struggling with her identity, who's struggling with acceptance and her place in the world, and that's her escape.
Yep.
So I thought it was very well done. I thought it was very well written. Uh, I have nothing but praise for the game. I think it's a lock for game of the year.
Agreed. I definitely
I'd be
agree.
surprised. I'd be surprised honestly if something else beats over it. It definitely has the greatest soundtrack ever. I mean, the music in that game is just
Fantastic.
they submitted their music for a Grammy nomination, I think,
As they should.
which is insane. But just everything about this game, the visuals, the art style, the storytelling, and then of course the combat. Turn-based combat to me has always been peak. Because there's always like that layer of strategy within the strategy. It's never just
Mm.
press a button and wait.
Yeah.
But this game takes it and cranks it up to like 11. The parrying, the dodging, all that stuff. I thought it was a real nice, fresh take on what modern turn-based combat could look like. There are a couple things I would have loved though. So for me, specifically playing through the game, um, I would have loved basically like a carbon copy of Final Fantasy X's battle system, where you have the ability to tag your characters in and out and
I wish
switch your
that would have
equipment
been
on the fly.
perfect.
Right, because there was a lot of times where like I had my party set, I had everything set, I got all these brand new weapons, and then I'm going to fight a creature, and his like elemental affinity is my weapon. So like every time I go to hit him, I would heal him, and I was just like, damn, like I wish I
Yep.
could change this. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
it's like you have to completely do the opposite. So like if there's any like one thing I would add if they do make a sequel, well they already said Clair Obscur is the name of the franchise. Expedition 33 is the first
It's like
story they told.
yeah, yeah. I saw that.
So
I saw
when they
that too.
make the next game, if they could implement that little change, like just be able to like swap characters in and out on the fly, and be able to
It'd be
change your equipment, I
fantastic.
think it would be like it would be a perfect combat system.
Well, yeah, that's why like when I first played it, I immediately thought Persona 5, The Legends of Dragoon, and Final Fantasy, but also like Dragon Quest. I want to say, is it 11? I want to say that's the last one I played. because that one you're able to swap out your characters and stuff like that. But those three games, I was like, oh, like this is like the perfect fusion between the three of them, right? And then like uh the combat was like you had brought up the fact that like things got grayscaled and like something ominous was gonna happen, like the music changed and like you see like the red, right? That's why I like how they use that also even in the combat, not just in the game, guys. Like
Right.
not as a story point, but also like even in the combat, like you knew whenever the screen turned gray, a big attack was coming, and you had a chance to parry it. But if you didn't, you're gonna take some serious damage, or even a fatal hit. Like so I know some characters could get like one shotted because of it, you know. But and I love how they just incorporated everything into that. And no, yeah, like that battles. I agree. If they add that you could change your weapons and you could use all the characters, like swap them in and out, then you'd be able to use all the characters. Because I didn't even use what's his face, Minoko, right?
Dude, let me tell you
I
about
did,
Minoko. So
I did not use him at all.
my second playthrough, I was like, okay, I'm purposely going to do my second playthrough different than my first one. And so I was like, I love Verso now. So I
Yeah,
was using Verso as soon as I got him. I mean, his combat is a little difficult to understand, but once you get it off the ground and once you understand how to like maximize his ranks and all that, he
yeah,
becomes
yeah.
an insanely strong character.
Super.
But Minoko is super interesting because Minoko is essentially like the blue mage. Like if you know RPGs and you've played RPGs, like you know the job system, and he's essentially your blue mage. So
Yep.
basically, in RPG like lore and RPG games, the blue mage is the guy who can copy skills from enemies. So like in Final Fantasy VII, they didn't do a blue mage, but they had the enemy skill materia, which essentially allowed you to equip that materia on any character and essentially make them the blue mage. But in Final Fantasy X, like Kumari was the blue
There you
mage.
go. I was about to ask you. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
like
and then in
I don't
Final,
think this.
that's my boy right there, Kumari. And then in Final
Yeah.
Fantasy VIII, Quistis was the blue mage. So there's always
Yes.
been a blue mage, but his is interesting because it's like there's no limitations to, yeah, there's a skill tree for him, but like he has some of the strongest moves just simply because of the enemies that he gets them from. So like when you fight Lampmaster at the end of Act 1,
Mm.
you can refight Lampmaster again later on in the game in a side mission, and if Minoko's in your party, he essentially learns the ability to, like, when he brings out the big sword and does that swipe.
Yeah, yeah.
So he like picks up a lot of those really strong abilities, and
Oh shit.
in my second playthrough, he was my strongest character just because of how versatile
Damn.
his move pool was. It was really really interesting how they did him.
That's pretty cool.
But yeah, I mean it also becomes like a good problem to have because so you get 5 party members. I don't like odd numbers. I would have loved a 6 party member just to have 3 and 3. I
I
would
feel
have
that.
loved I
I
would have
feel that.
loved for somehow like I understand like when you get to Act 3, Mael is just discovering that she's, Alicia.
Mhm.
But I really feel like there was an opportunity to bring Gustav back, but they didn't. And the explanation is he wasn't killed by a Nevron. He was killed by Renoir.
Mhm.
But essentially, Mael just brings everybody back at the end anyway. So she could have done it. She just
She
probably
could have done
didn't.
it then.
She
Didn't
probably
know that she could
didn't
do it.
just didn't know she could do it. So
Yeah.
it would have been interesting to see interactions between Gustav and Verso because
That would have been
essentially
cool.
I feel like Gustav is like so another really good game reference, Kingdom Hearts.
Woo!
I feel like
Another
Verso
one.
is yeah, I feel like Verso is the heartless version of Gustav.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that.
So
The
I feel
Roxas of
like
yeah.
right,
Yeah.
he's the Roxas to Gustav Sora. And when it comes to like protagonists, Gustav is up there, man. Like
Oh, hands
he
down.
he's like, even though you spend such a short amount of time with him, like he's very compassionate, he cares about his people, like he's good in combat. Charlie Cox did an amazing job voicing him. That guy is, phenomenal actor. I was very surprised that he was in this game, and then I was also very surprised that he was in it as little as he was.
Hmm.
I did hear a rumor or read something about the original plan was to keep Gustav in the game for the majority of the game, but then when Daredevil Born Again got off the ground, Charlie had to leave the game. So that's
Oh,
maybe why they did what they did with the Gustav character.
that makes sense.
But I think it worked out
It
because
did. Definitely, definitely.
Verso. I mean, I love Ben Starr. He was great as Clive.
Oh,
The
dude.
guy is
And I
so
love,
good. He's just so good.
bro.
And
Fantastic.
Verso is such an interesting character because he's so relatable. Because
Yes.
he just struggles with the thought of, do I make the best decision or do I make the right decision? And I feel like we're all like that. We all struggle with making decisions and he did have a goal, he did have a plan, like he could have saved Gustav, but he didn't. He knew what his plan was. But ultimately, at the end of the day, yeah, his motivations were selfish, but
Yeah.
he was trying to help his family, which wasn't even really his family because he was just a painted version of the real Verso.
Yeah, but he's what Versa would have done,
Right,
right?
right.
So it's right. So like, especially trying to save his sister, and that's what another thing that I love. I did not that I loved about the ending of Mael, right? Because that ending was crazy, but uh, the fact that like she was older, she was an older woman, and I feel like when you are stuck in that type of in that grief, in that cycle of depression, sadness, and all that stuff, and delusion, you lose track of time. And next thing you're in your 20s. Next thing you know, you in your 40s, and you're still at the same dead end job, and you're like, what the fuck happened to my life?
Right.
And like, and I feel like at some point, like she started to like wake up also, because I feel like kind of like both her and Verso, same thing were happening, like was kind of happening where they were both like waking up in in their world and like realizing like where they were as if they were like drugged in a way, like
Mm-hmm.
as and then like how you start off like all woozy, like, oh, where am I type of shit, and the next thing you're like, oh shit, what the fuck. And I feel like she's kind of like going through that too, but I think hers is because it's just self-imposed and just being stuck in that haze and that like all that shit, while his is just being forced, like.
Sure.
So like that, like yeah, so that was interesting. But
Yeah. For like it's so funny because like it's a video game, right?
yeah,
It's made for entertainment, but when you start incorporating real human emotion into your art, into your characters, like I completely understand Aline, the mother. I completely understand
hmm
why she did what she did. She lost a child. Like that is in the natural order of life, that is the most unnatural thing to happen is for a parent to lose their child. Your kids are not supposed to die before you do. So that can send so many people off the deep end, and you try to hold on to the pieces that you can hold
yeah,
on to, but obviously
yeah,
they took it to obviously the supernatural and all those elements incorporated into it, but the overall meaning of that is still there. Like, yeah, in Clair Obscur, her cycle of grief was painting a copy of her son so that she could remember him and just keep an essence of his soul alive. But it happens in real life all the time.
yeah,
Sometimes you get obsessive over things, and you it's very difficult to let go of things. And I think Clair Obscur is such a good game because of how real the story is. Even though it has a fantastical skin on it. um it's a created world, the creatures are interesting, but the overall core idea is very human, it's very natural. And I said it in my review, like when you're playing a game and it can take you through the entire emotional spectrum, you know that you have a gem on your hands, because
bro,
it's just, where are you going to get that?
dude, it's just that's when a game gets to that point, that's when you start like you put him up there with the great stories like Lord of the Rings, uh, literature, right? Homer, Odyssey, hell, Harry Potter. Right now, I've been listening to Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Hmm.
That's definitely one you should definitely check out. Um, Even in movies, Star Wars. So many uh mediums, but like when those emotions hit right, especially in the storytelling, especially when I don't know, it's different when you're playing through it, right? Because like you're going at your pace and like you're growing with these characters, and
Right.
you definitely spend a lot more time than you would with a movie or not so much, even with TV shows as well. But regardless, like just the fact that it's conveyed and like when you feel it, man, that's when it that's what it's all about, right? Like,
Yeah.
dude, like
Absolutely. I think video games in general, they have a very obviously we both love movies, we both love shows, we both love media. Like there's a lot of different forms of media, and you have to incorporate video games into that category because it is a form of media. But they have the interesting advantage of you're experiencing a narrative, but you're in that narrative. It's not
yeah,
being told to you. You're finding everything out. You're going on the adventure. You're losing characters and people dying. You're developing an emotional connection,
no
and
facts.
I mean, the overall story is there, but you're unlocking the bits and pieces of it as you play through the world, as you get immersed into the world. It's very different from sitting down on your couch and watching a movie and having everything being told to you.
No,
Um,
sure.
so video games has that advantage of it could bridge that gap, that make that connection between player and game to where it feels like it's something like you're doing it. So
Yeah, more
that's
personable. Yeah,
yeah, it's more, it means more. There's a lot more weight to it. I mean, I've been gaming since I was 5, so you're talking 30 years of gaming. Like, yeah, there's gems out there. Like there's games that you connect with, and they just so happen to be most of the time RPGs because those are the games that take the most time for you to complete. Like you're putting hours and hours and hours into them.
facts.
But yeah, I think they did a great job with it. I can't wait to see what else they have in store for us. And it just goes to show you, man, like it doesn't take billions of dollars and these crazy developers studios to make a game like this. Like it was a group of people who had a passion and they wanted to start this project, and it was selfishly made. They wanted to make a game and they wanted to tell their story because it's something that they wanted for themselves, and it just connected with a larger audience. And I think that's special, and
No, definitely.
I think what they did can't be overlooked.
And the fact that like I'm glad that it had such a positive reception, and there kind of has been like more of a resurgence of like more turn-based RPGs back, right? Like, people like they want the RPGs, but I know personally I want turn-based Final Fantasy games back. Me personally, I know the new Final Fantasy Tactics is out. Well, the remastered of the original, which is getting amazing praises, but like,
Yep,
you know, uh, Rebirth and Remake, I kind of wish there was some form of turn-based, but that's just me personally.
I agree.
I still do like how it is, but I'm also like I kind of want the original, just nicer, like
Yeah.
but right now I'm actually playing Trails in the Sky, bro,
Oh, nice.
dude.
Is that a remake?
Yes,
Okay.
this is the first chapter, but bro, I thought Clair Obscur and I thought Persona 5 was the best RPG combat system I've ever played. I'm talking
Really?
about, dude.
Oh, that's
So
sick.
so what's great about this one is the fact that it's action and turn-based, right? Like also like Metamorph, Refantasio, similar in that. My wife is playing that, and they do have where you could like keep pressing square and you're attacking the enemy to lower their health, and then you could go into a turn-based, right? But in this one, you have your base attack, and then you also have your advanced attack,
Hmm.
and like you could keep attacking the big horde of enemies on the field, and when you get their stun. Your advanced attack do, does more damage on their stun. Once the moment you get into the stun, you can automatically start your turn. You could activate the turn-based mode, and your party's is in an advantage. I can't say it correctly, but
You're
you
good.
guys
I
are,
got you.
yeah, but you guys are in an advantage, right? And so like you could definitely like really like strategize like who's doing what real quick, and then like you could go in and out of those turn-based modes if you wanted to, then go back into regular attack and just start messing people up, and then dude, it flows so perfectly between the two. I'm mind blown every time I'm
That's
playing a
awesome.
damn game. I'm mind blown
That's
because
awesome.
like just the fact that like man, I love turn-based games. Sometimes it can get very tedious because like
Sure.
all the enemies start attacking you, and you gotta do all of them or you run away or whatever. But in this case, like you're able to like switch between the two, and then and the enemies that are lower than you just start with doing way more damage, and you just fucking wrecking them in the action mode. You know what I mean? So like,
Right.
dude, I highly recommend it. Like, I'm blown away because I was like, damn, Clear Obscur, best fucking turn-based combat fighting system. Then here comes this game, and this game like really like takes the cake in my opinion. And like and that's what I love about RPGs right now. Like they're trying different things. They're trying to like really like get everyone back into playing these games. Like Clair Obscur, you could tell the passion that they have for Legend of Dragoon, for Final Fantasy, for all Persona. You like all these series, they put it all together. Another great example of that is Sea of Stars. I don't know if you've played that, bro. That
I've
game
heard
is
really
fan.
good things. That's a 2D pixel one, right? Yeah,
Yes,
I
dude,
really like that art style. I like that.
bro, you have to play that game. That game
I
is
will definitely check it
fantastic.
out, dude. There's that.
Story
I
wise,
need to
oh,
play
it's
that.
so
I need
good.
to play Octopath Traveler. I need to play like
That's a
there's
good
so
one.
many
That's a
games I
good
need
one.
to play. So yeah,
Bro,
I'm
so good.
slowly I'm slowly trying to get back into it. I mean, it's very overwhelming. Like my backlog is insanely large right now. But I if there's one thing I
Always,
will
always.
say, one thing I will say. Well, actually, I'm gonna say two things. I think you said it earlier. Like I think there is going to be a resurgence in the turn-based games because it just worked. Like what they did with Clair Obscur, like it worked. Like yes, it
Yeah.
was turn-based, but it wasn't like I go, you go, I go,
No,
you
yeah,
go. Like
yeah, yeah.
you had the dodge, you had the parry, you had the jump, you had the gradient counter. Like you had things that it wasn't just like press a button and wait. And it's funny
No.
because like when I first started playing it, I would find myself like, oh, I'm just gonna attack and wait, and then be, oh shit, like I need to dodge or I need to parry.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
just like it adds another layer to your reaction time. It adds more layer, another layer to the muscle
Keeps you
memory.
active,
It
bro.
keep
It keeps
right.
you
It
active.
keeps you active, and I think that could work if they do it right, and they did it right here.
Damn. Now that you said that, dude. Damn. Now, okay. Trails is not the best because if they take, because they don't have that like the dodge thing, like doing it when someone's attacking you. Like sometimes you'll have like your character, like one of the characters, like protect the other character, but if you just take Trails and Clear, put them
Put them
together,
together.
oh, best game ever, bro. Because like
Yeah.
I do like having that option because you wanna, especially with how this day and age everyone has ADHD to an extent. You know, kids have it worse, but us adults we have it just as bad right now.
Mm-hmm.
And like,
Yep.
we can't. Everyone's in the TikTok age, and like it took me a bit to get through some games because I had to I had to go through like the dialogue again, or it's just it's just it takes a bit, but like you know if we just damn, I lost my train of thought. I'm not
You're good, man. You're
gonna lie.
good. You're spitting. You're spitting. It's all good.
Yeah, so like no, but damn. No, yeah. So keeping us active, like that, especially with the combat system, like definitely helps us move along and gets through the story easier. And like, because some people forget, like, oh, turn based. Oh, I'm waiting. Let me go do something. Next thing you know, you forget that you're playing, and, and your game's been on
Mm-hmm.
for like forever, or you fall asleep in my instance because I do that sometimes.
Yeah, I do that a lot too. I also have
Yeah.
sleep apnea, but I got diagnosed 2 years ago now. I do have a CPAP machine. It definitely has saved my life.
Oh no,
Um,
definitely huge help,
it's
bro.
it's so crazy.
Day and night.
Yeah, it's just I'm not. I don't want to get into it, but it is crazy.
We could definitely do another episode on
Yeah,
that if you
we
want,
could talk about sleep apnea a whole episode on its own, but
because it's serious.
it
It's a
is
serious thing, dude.
it
People
is a
like,
serious thing.
and like everyone, like a lot of people going through it, and like it's a bad thing.
Yeah,
But
it's a very serious thing. It's it's this game also, like, I was getting to a point where I don't know what to call it. I don't know if it's just like in a funk or like some form of depression, but I was getting it to a point where like games weren't like fun for me.
no, no, definitely. I wasn't playing for a
Like
while.
I shouldn't say games, like newer games weren't fun. Like I went through the whole, Call of Duty phase and like the Warzone phase and like, playing online shooters with with your boys or whatever.
Yeah,
And that
definitely.
kind of got old. Like it wasn't scratching that itch for me. And I thought when Rebirth came out, I thought Rebirth was going to be that game that kind of got me like full send back into it. But Rebirth just felt just, and I'm not knocking it for, especially for people who really love Final Fantasy VII and the franchise. I think it's a beautiful game. I think they did a great job with it. Seeing the animations and seeing the voice acting, that's all great. But for me personally, it felt like a list of to do things, like, and to check boxes. Like there was just way too much, and it just felt like a job. Like it just felt like I was completing tasks and not really like progressing the story. So I didn't
I
even
see.
finish. I didn't even finish it. Like I finished Final Fantasy 16. I loved Final Fantasy 16.
That was a great game.
Even though the combat was more action heavy, I
Hmm.
loved the story of that game, and I played through that whole game and I beat it. And then
Me
after
too.
that,
Me too.
I was like, what's
I couldn't
next?
stop playing. I couldn't stop
Yeah, it
playing.
was great. It was great.
Yeah,
And that game, and people shit on 16, but I loved
I
it. And
know.
then
Me too.
so I heard, I kept seeing stuff about Clair Obscur, and I kept seeing stuff on TikTok, and I kept seeing stuff about it, and I was like, I just have to try this game. I just have to try it and see it. And honestly, like, it sounds like a cop out, but that prologue, when you're going through Lumiere and you get down to the harbor and the Gomage happens after Sophie dies, I was just like, I was hooked. I was like, I need to like play, like I need to do it. And Clair Obscur Expedition 33 has really like brought me my love of gaming back. Um and it has nothing to do with the game. The game was incredible. It was beautifully written. The visuals were great. The combat was great. I don't have anything bad to say about the game. What brought me back from like what brought back my love of gaming is hearing the developers talk about their passion and like
Hmm.
saying that we made this game because we love games and we want to pay respect to the games that we grew up on. And that's our generation now. Like that's
Yeah.
we're in the forefront of that. Like the millennial generation is now the main generation. And it was just like, damn, like I get it. Like I understand. That's what it's all about. It's all about
Yes,
finding that passion and that love for it.
bro. Like you saying that, right? It made me think of two other things, right? Two movies that I saw recently that you could tell there's love in that. So one is Godzilla minus one. One of my favorite was my 2023, my favorite movie of the year. That movie, you could tell the love that that movie has, right? Um, Especially for the director. And then recently, Superman, James Gunn. He's a
Dude,
huge,
dude.
huge Superman DC fan, and you could tell, even though he did a great job with Guardians. Those are great movies, and well, the first one was one of my favorite Marvel movies. There's a level to it, right?
Yeah.
And like
Hmm.
Superman, he really like went up a notch. And then even with Peacemaker right now, like he like you know that when people are working on things that they are passionate about,
Exactly. That's
you
exactly what it
feel
is.
it, and then like it bleeds in their work, and you feel it as the audience, as the one to like another example, Wicked.
Oh,
I don't know, bro. When
dude.
at first when I went to go see it, I was like, ah. And then my wife's like, no, we gotta,
Dude,
so we gotta
that
go.
was
So
incredible.
so at first I wasn't like, I was like, not too into it. I'm not, I've been getting more into Broadway, trying to get like shows and stuff, get more, cultured and diverse and stuff like that. And man, the scene where Elphaba is dancing by herself and Galinda's dancing with her, I ugly cried in the theater,
Yeah,
sobbing.
dude. It's
Like I'm about to start crying now. Like I'm getting emotional. But like, and then not just that, but even hearing Ariana Grande and Cynthia Rizzo singing, like you feel the passion, and
yes.
like, oh, dude, like that shit.
It's contagious. It's
It is.
infectious.
It is.
And
It is.
and like yeah, I mean I've always been a fan of musicals and Broadways and stuff like that. My wife is also she's like that too. And I was super excited to go see Wicked in the theater because I never got to see the show.
Okay.
But I was not expecting Wicked to have the effect on me that it
Me
did.
too. Me
All right,
too. Me too.
from I was like, okay, cool. It's essentially the prequel to the Wizard of Oz. But being an adult and it's so corny to say this, but like I grew up idolizing Batman,
Yeah.
but like animated series Batman, so like Detective Batman, right?
Yeah.
And like I've lived my life on always like over analyzing things and like being aware of your surroundings and like looking like reading between the lines and all that. So being a heavy analytical person like I am, and now with with the life experiences that I have being an adult, Wicked was so much more than just a freaking Broadway musical. Like it was a story about acceptance. It was a
Yes.
story about not
So
only
much.
it was a story about basically for me like what I got from it was a story of learning how to love yourself first, and that's what like yeah like for me it was defying gravity. Like when
Dude.
she's up there singing, I was just like,
Oh
here it
yeah.
comes. Like I feel it, it's coming. And then she hits the note, and like, but
Oh
just the meaning behind that song, I
yeah.
ugly cried like probably for like 3-4 minutes straight. And dude, I don't care about you can't cry, you're a guy. That shit, I don't care about that shit. Um,
Yeah. Me neither.
so I was crying
I
in the
know. I don't
theater or
care.
whatever, and my wife looked at me and she was crying and I was crying, and I was just like, "Holy shit, that was so beautiful!" Like,
Yep. Yep.
amazing. Like, it's just like the strength and the power of accepting you for who you are, and like that was
Yep.
just like, and like to tie it all back into Clair Obscur, they created this game and like they made this game with the notion of we don't care what people are
Yeah.
gonna think about it. Like we think that the story is important. We think that the passion that we put behind the project is important to portray. We've written these beautiful characters. We've written this beautiful story, dude. And if you do that, like if you put forth the effort and you put forth the passion to share that with other people, it's going to be received very well.
Always.
Um, dude, like it's just it kind of puts things in perspective that you don't need to spend money or uh, do all these flashy like I'm just talking about gaming now like in
Yeah.
general.
Yeah.
You don't need to make these super expensive AAA games. Like just put passion behind the project. Like now the game that's getting so much praise now is Hollow Knight Silk Song, and it's essentially
Yeah.
just a 2D like Metroidvania style game. And
It
it's
looks
just
cool.
like,
It looks
oh,
cool.
I started playing Hollow Knight a little bit. I haven't like really dived into it, but I started playing Hollow Knight and I was like, yeah, I totally get it. Like I could see it, and that's the thing is like because you see it, you see the passion, you see like you know, there's like four types of games, dude. There's like dungeon crawlers, there's RPGs, there's racing games and fighting games. Like, that's really
Yeah.
it, and then everything is like an iteration of something. So it's hard to reinvent the wheel because everything has been done,
True.
right? But where's that separation? That separation comes from storytelling. It comes from attention to detail. It comes from passion. It comes from
Presentation.
presentation. Yeah, it comes from you're talking about we got E33. It was a complete game on launch. There was
Yeah. It
no
was.
day one DLC. There was no, hey, you have to download this to get the rest of the story. It was a complete game from start to finish on launch.
No, that's true.
And in today's day and age, that's unheard of,
No,
you know?
that's true.
And you know, gaming being the multi-billion-dollar industry that it is, a lot of things get swept under the rug or looked past, and you could make the argument that the majority of the games that are made today are just copy and paste, rinse and repeat. So when you have a gem like Clair Obscur, that's it makes it worth it because it's like I get it, I enjoyed it, I got the enjoyment that you were trying to sell to us, and I can't wait to see what you have coming next.
Yeah, no, I mean, for being such a small studio, unknown, and now I'm just like, damn, uh, you got the next, you got the next drug, like that's like,
Yeah,
time's a ticking. How long is it gonna take? I need number two, bro. Like,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
especially this day and age, right? Like, especially as consumers. But no, that one of my favorite games might be my game of the year. Definitely it is. It is right now. Trails, if I beat it, we'll see what happens. I know a lot of people are saying Ghost of Yoti uh, is another one, but like RPG wise, like Claire has been uh, a standout, super unexpected. I haven't felt like this in a while. Aside like the last time I felt like this was when I actually played through Sea of Stars. Because that gave me like the Chrono Trigger,
Yeah,
older Final Fantasy vibes, and that story, dude. I'm telling you, you're gonna love that one.
I gotta check it out for sure. I
Yeah,
definitely have
yeah,
to put that on my list. Um, yeah, man. Listen, it's very rare that you know you come across stuff like this. Like I think I've played good game. I've played good games. I've played a lot of good games in my day. There's some bangers out there, but like games that really like that you feel like that you resonate with. Like
yeah,
Final Fantasy
yeah.
X was like the last one, and that was like
That's a
20
long
20
time ago.
20 years ago, man. Like
Bro, there's no way Final Fantasy X was the last one, dude. That's so long ago.
that made me feel the way that Claire Obscur did. Yeah, probably. Like where I was just like obsessed with it and like feeling all the emotions and like fully invested in the story. You know, like I can honestly say like that's like I said, I've played great games. Like obviously the Arkham franchise came out after all that.
Mm,
I've played great games, but even being the
those
big
are good.
Batman fan that I am, those Batman games did not get the emotion from me that a Final Fantasy X or a Clair Obscur Expedition 33 would.
Uh, uh,
So,
okay, that's fair. I would say one for me that I wasn't expecting was actually God of War.
see, I didn't
Especially
play God of War.
you ever played God of War?
No, dude, I haven't played God of War. I haven't played a lot of games. I haven't played God of War. I haven't played
Dude,
Horizon Zero Dawn. I haven't played a lot of
okay,
games.
forget anything else, bro. You, especially now that you're a father,
Yeah, I keep
even
hearing
more
that.
so,
I keep hearing that.
you need to play. Just find a recap video of like God of War 1 to 3, right? Of Kratos' story with the Greek gods, and then just play God of War and play them with your boys. And what? But hell, well, all four of them and your girl too. Play, just play that game with your family, bro. Into to Ragnarok. I'm telling you, dude, you're gonna love that game, bro.
I gotta check it out. I did play the original ones. I played one, two, and three,
No,
and then
but the
it's
play
different.
style
I know it's
changes,
I know it's different. Yeah,
dude. I'm telling you, the fact that it's not even that, but I'm telling you, the story will resonate with you, and just like how like we talk about the passion, the bleeding, you feel it, right? Cory Balrog is the director, the guy that created this God of War, and like he's also on board with the TV series that's being made by, I'm pretty sure it's
I think
Amazon or
Amazon. Yeah, Amazon.
Amazon, right?
Yeah,
So and they're doing this version of God of War because I'm telling you, bro, the feeling that you get, man, like that. That's why games like Clear, that God of War, Final Fantasy X, you know, 8, 7, like original 7, 9, like those. Hell, even Persona 5, like those games, like they invoke that emotion, and like that's the beauty of storytelling and
right,
RPGs
right.
and being able to play through it and everything like that. So yeah, and then even like Mass Effect. Oh, dude, like another one, Mass Effect. Being able to like, I remember Mass Effect 2. I'm trying to make sure that all my squad members survive. Because spoiler, they could die
The
at the end
suicide
of that
mission or
game.
whatever. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then like in number three, they're not in the third one, and then you're like, what
Yeah,
the fuck? So
yeah.
like, I'll never forget. That is one of my favorite like gaming things like that I was able to do. Like going from one to number two, saving my squad. Like you could save Rex in the first one, right? You can have him live or die, and then the second one you can save your whole squad, and then they carry over to the third one, and then like
That's
man,
wild.
I love Mass Effect, dude. That shit
That's
was
what
so fun.
I played Mass Effect 1. I never
I
played
remember
2
you
or
went,
3.
dude. Oh,
I've yeah, dude. I'm
oh,
I'm so behind the ball.
you. I remember. I think were you not that into Mass Effect One?
I'm pretty sure I beat Mass Effect 1.
No, you did, cause that's why you let me borrow it,
I
so we played
can't
it.
remember. I can't remember what it was about it, but like I mean, I played it because I had to, because I had it. So I was like, I
Yeah,
have to play this game. But I enjoyed it. But I never played 2 or 3 because I guess I didn't
uh,
like it enough to play 2 or 3.
dude, you know what it is? Number two changed it. Number two killed it,
Yeah,
bro. I'm telling you, because like number one was okay. Number two took number one and made everything better, but the story starts off crazy, dude. Like
I mean,
it.
I know I'm gonna have to revisit it. I know. Listen, I know, dude. I just a few months before playing Clair Obscur, I just played Chrono Trigger for the first time ever.
Oh, great game, great
So
game.
I was like, and that's kind of like what the retro emulation has helped me do, catch up on a lot of these older games. Like right now,
Yeah.
I'm playing. Right now, I just finished Final Fantasy VIII again. I'm gonna jump into Golden Sun or Golden Sun, yeah, Golden Sun on the
Great
GBA.
game. I
Yeah,
love that
see,
game.
great game. I never played it, but I'm
Yeah.
gonna jump into it. But that's I feel like sometimes sometimes I feel like a fraud because I'm talking about RPGs, I'm talking about all these games, and I haven't played so many of them. But at the same time, it's like I didn't play them because I didn't want to. I just couldn't, you know.
Also, you are a father of four kids,
Right,
four
and
children. So
now my time is very limited, and I have to make smart decisions, you know. So I just finished Clair Obscur. So like how I break it down is I play like my main game is played on my computer, and then I catch up on my old school backlog on my little Game Boy. So
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
always playing 2 games at once. Um, right now Digimon Time Stranger just came out. I'm a huge Digimon fan, so I
I
had to
wanna
play that.
I wanna pick
Uh,
that up, dude. I
yeah,
heard it. I
so
heard it's kind of fire.
I'm playing that right now. It's fire.
Like I could, cause
It's
I heard like
very Persona. It's Persona
okay,
essentially.
and that's fine with me.
Um,
I like that. Did I heard they
so
even got like the Digimon from? Is this season three?
they have
Like
there's like 450 Digimon in total. This story follows the Olympus 12, so it's a lot of Digimon that have like their roots are like with the Roman gods and stuff like that.
okay, that sounds
Which is a cool
badass.
story. The first two Digimon story games were amazing. Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth, and Hacker's Memory. They were amazing. The problem
Yeah,
is when they first came out, they were Japanese exclusives. They weren't here in the
uh,
states.
yeah. I
So they
remember
got
getting them.
ported over. The first time they got ported over was on the PS Vita.
Yes.
So I had Cyber Sleuth on the Vita, but that technology was way ahead of its time. We didn't appreciate that console
Oh,
the way we should.
I still have my Vita, bro.
That's awesome. You're lucky because it's one of the greatest handhelds of all time.
That's where I had Legends Dragoon. I still have it on there. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
I love the
awesome.
Vita. Vita was beautiful,
Yeah,
beautiful.
the PlayStation Vita, if it were to come out today, would still be fine because it was so ahead of its time. Like the back paddles, like the touchpad in the back, like the ergonomics were good. Like it was so ahead of its time, but back then it was competing with the 3DS, and the 3DS was a fucking juggernaut. So
And the 3DS was also ahead of its time too. Cause
yeah, yeah.
honestly, bro, the 3DS is especially like the small white one. That thing was beautiful, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like that. Oh man, like I'll never forget. I think the best version of Majora's Mask is the 3DS version of it because the quality of life that they added to that game, having the second screen, being able to have the diary, like input the journal and all that shit. Bro, so good. But the
Yeah.
3DS, I fucking love the
Yeah,
3DS.
it was a great This is what I have right now. This is my Game Boy.
Oh, that's nice.
It's like an SP essentially.
Yeah, dude, I fucking love the ESP.
But I can play up to PS1 on there. So
That's dope.
I only have up to GB on there because it doesn't have a joystick. It feels like the immersion is a little weird for me.
Mm.
So I have everything from Atari to Game Boy Advance. So like Super Nintendo, Nintendo, Sega Genesis, all that stuff on there. So that's how I pound through my backlog of like years past. But yeah, it's just I gotta find the time to play these games. I also like I just started getting into PC gaming, and
Yeah.
I'm
So,
seeing the benefits of it. Like I kind of it's surprising to me that it's taken me so long to make the jump. But now that I have it, it's like okay, cool. So I can crush all these old games now. So that's
yeah.
great. But yeah, man, like I wasn't gonna play Clair Obscur. I wasn't gonna do it. I was just like, oh, it looks cool, but like I don't really have the time. And then I was watching it was a stupid freaking TikTok. I was scrolling on TikTok, and I want to say like 5 or 6 of the videos that were on my For You page were just Clair Obscur, Clair Obscur, Clair Obscur, and I was just like, what is this game, dude? I was flicking through it, and this is what finally put me over the edge to actually play this game. I was flicking through it, and this TikTok popped up. This dude was playing Clair Obscur on his TikTok. It wasn't a stream; it was just like a little clip or whatever. He was in the Gestural Village, and he was talking to the Gestrals, right? And he was having a conversation with a Gestral. And the dialogue box said, "Hey, do you want to play some double dyad?" And as soon as I read that, I was like, "There's no way that is a triple triad Final Fantasy VIII reference in this game." And I was like, so then I started going down the rabbit hole, and then I started finding out that the developers were huge Final Fantasy fans, and there's a lot of homage to older
Yep.
games. And I
Yep.
was like, I'm just gonna have to play this game now.
Yep.
And immediately from when I turned it on, that first opening scene, I was like, okay, I could see this. But then, yeah, that first major cutscene with the Gomage and everything, everybody dying in the harbor, it was enough of a mystery for me to be like, I need to know what's going on here. But it was also like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah.
And that reaction happens throughout the entire game. When you get to the beach, what the hell just happened?
Yeah, dude, that was
When you see
crazy.
Renoir and he just murders everybody, like what the hell just happened?
Yeah. The
And it's
whole
like that for
expedition was.
the whole game is like that. What after Act 1? After Act 1, forget it. I was like, how am I supposed to play this game if the main character is dead?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then after Act 2, when I finished Act 2, I thought I was done. I was like, "Oh, that game was amazing. Game of the year." And then he reads the letter, and then you're like, "No way, dude.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way this whole time we're the bad guys. You're essentially the bad guys to them,
Yeah.
to that
Yeah.
world."
Yeah.
I was like, there is no. And then everybody gets wiped out. And then it says epilogue. And I was like, there is no way that this game is going to end like this. And you find out that it's Alicia, and there's a real world and a painted world. And then you go back in for Act 3. And I was just like, what else can possibly happen right now?
And then it ends.
And then the way it ends is just like, it's one of the greatest games I've ever played. It's
No,
one of the greatest games I've ever
easily.
played, and like not even like it's not even close. It's one of the greatest games I've ever played. Like it's not like maybe no. It is one of the greatest games I've ever played.
Start to finish.
Yeah, from start to finish. Like there aren't really any low points. My second playthrough, like knowing the main story, I went off the beaten path and explored a lot more. Dude, there's so much. When you get to Act 3, there's so much side content that should have been mainline content.
In What's up? 'Cause I did not do any of the
Okay,
side quests.
so when
I
you
like I did all the missions that I had to for the people. You know,
hmm
like to get everyone was like maxed out.
hmm
That was like it.
so the that's a good example. Those missions are not part of the main story because as soon as you get to Act 3, all you have to do is you go straight to fight. You can just go straight to fight the final boss.
So I did the side missions.
So you did some of them. So
Oh
those
shit!
so like
Nice.
maximizing so like then you did Lunes at Siren, you did
Yeah.
CLs, you did
Yep.
Monoko to get Noko back.
Yeah.
You got all so yeah, that's those are side missions that are not part of the main story.
Damn. That they should be
Right.
honestly.
But there's more than that though, which
Oh
adds to the
no way.
lore of everything. So so the axons, right? There's 3 axons in the game. You only fight 2 of them. You fight Siren and you fight in Visages, the dude with the masks. There's a third
Oh
axon.
no way.
The third axon is Alicia,
Okay.
and she's in a big tower that you have to fly to with Eskia. You have to fly to this tower, and you have to climb up this tower, and you get to her, and it's a one-on-one battle with Mael and Alicia. And once you beat her, Mael kind of like unpaints her because that's what she wants. She wants to be put to rest.
Yeah.
But Verso freaks out and he's like, "You didn't even let me get to say goodbye to my sister."
Oh, I did that.
Okay, so you did that.
Yes.
Okay, that is
I
also a
I remember Verso freaking out
yeah.
big
So
time.
that is also a side mission that's not part of the main story.
What?
And then there's I don't know if you went to the Flying Manor, but the Flying Manor is where you fight Clea. It is the hardest fight in the game.
Definitely not then.
It is the hardest fight in the game if you haven't fought Simon. Simon is the ultra boss of the game. Dude,
No, I have not.
there's and it's like every RPG has its super bosses,
I
right?
know. I hate, bro. I hate hard things, dude. Like I've gotten to like this point in my life where like, man, like finding like the ultimate like in 7 fighting the ultimate weapons.
Yeah.
I'm good. Fighting Sephiroth in Kingdom Hearts, I did it. I beat him. You know what? I don't gotta do it again. I'm good.
Yeah, that's
I
it.
never,
So
like,
like so like the
uh,
main thing with that though is that is legit side content that there's no like implementation with it. There's no story. But like this side content, like yeah, these are super bosses that you're fighting throughout the game, but there are huge story implications when you fight these bosses. So like when you fight Clea,
okay.
you first of all you have to go through this entire section and essentially refight all of the bosses that you fought up until this point of the game just to unlock the ability to get to her. So you have to refight an Evek, which is that first big boss that you fight with Gustav and Lune. You have to refight one of those. You have to refight Lampmaster. You have to refight the Duelist, which is the dude with the swords. You
This
have to
sounds so familiar.
you have to
I think I might have done the refights. I don't think I've fought her.
so when you dude, and then when you fight her, her story is so well, so you get more lore out of it because Verso starts to explain like Clea is the most talented member of that family. So
Oh,
Clea,
Versus family?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
Clea is the oldest sister. There's 3 kids. So Clea is the older sister, but she is the most talented in that family when it comes to art.
Since when do you
Clea,
hear about her that much?
you see her one time in the main story when you're Alicia with her burnt face. That girl that she's talking to, that she's telling her like you have to go back into the canvas or whatever to pull
Yeah.
Aline out. That's Clea, but that's really all you get with her. But then this part of the story, Verso explains like you fight the painted version of Clea, and Clea painted her painted version just to perpetually create Nevrons. All she does is create Nevrons, constantly creating Nevrons. She doesn't stop. And the whole point of creating the Nevrons was to accelerate Renoir's plan to pull Aline out of the canvas. So the Nevrons are created to kill all of Aline's creations and not harvest the chroma for Aline, which is what keeps her in there.
Yeah.
But you don't get that without doing that fight. So you go in there and you fight all these bosses, and then you fight Clair, and literally you have to perfect the fight. Like you have to parry every single hit. Because if you don't, she heals 500,000 HP every time she hits you. Dude, it took me like 6 tries to beat this freaking. It took me like 6 tries to beat her. And the way she attacks is she throws like Nevrons at you.
Okay.
And they all have different attack timings.
Oh God, that's
dude. I had to learn the attack patterns of like 6 different waves of freaking creatures.
That's crazy.
And then, but you know what? When I finally beat her, I was like, yeah, like I was so hyped when I beat her. But then you beat her, and she's a paint. She's like Alicia in the canvas. She's like a painted version of herself. She doesn't speak, but you see it in her eyes, like the tragedy in her eyes. And Verso walks up to her because that's his sister. Verso walks up to her and is like, "I'm sorry," and she kind of throws her hands up. And she sends her own Nevrons at herself to kill her out of the canvas. It's crazy. But that's not part of the main story. That is a side thing. You don't have to do that. But if you want to get all the lore, like, you have to do it. And then there's Simon. Simon was part of the original expedition. He is the Sword of Lumiere. That's what they call him. He is Clair's lover. She painted him to be Clair's lover, but he is locked in the dungeon, essentially, like in the bottom. There's this place in the game called Renoir's Drafts, which only unlocks in Act 3, and it's essentially like a super boss place where you're just fighting all these super like hard creatures. But if you go all the way to the bottom of Renoir's Drafts, that's where Simon is, and it's just a pitch black like battle room. And this dude, that fight, it took me forever to beat him. There's 3 stages of him. The first stage is easy. You just have to parry a couple things, and then you beat him. And then he transforms into like his holy shit form. He looks kind of like Sephiroth. He has long hair, really big ass sword, but he only has 1 arm. I don't know how he only has 1 arm, but he only has 1 arm. So then when you beat the second stage of him, he banishes your party from the canvas, and you have to use your backup party. So if you went the whole game just focusing on your main 3 party members, you're not going to win the fight.
That dude sounds familiar. I think I might have tried the fight, and I said, fuck this shit.
Yeah.
I definitely said, fuck this shit. Yeah, I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this.
And then finally, when you beat him, like, you put him to rest, but he gives you, what is essentially Verso's ultimate weapon in the game.
Okay.
Again, side content that's not part of the main story.
But so he was just the lover of.
Yeah, so like the lore behind it is he is painted Clair's lover, like that was like, you know, the love of his life, but then real Clair gets pissed and then essentially banishes him to like the whatever where he's at, Renoir's Drafts, and then she repaints her painted copy to just create Nevrons. There's a tragic story behind there, but yeah, it's just like, and then a lot of the expedition journals that you collect throughout the journey give you the backstory too, but you have to find all of them.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. So it's just like, yeah, like there's a lot of side content that has so much story implication. But the problem too also is if you do like it, I was so overpowered for the main story my second way through. Like I just one-shotted the final boss. Like I was just nice. Like it was just because you do so much to get to there. And that's usually how like RPGs are. Like the main story is never really the hardest shit of the game. But I wish they would have tried to incorporate some of those side content into the main elements of the story, because they are optional and they are missable. And I feel like, especially like the characters' stories, to get their maximum friendship level, I feel like that's super important and should have been a part of the main journey.
I feel that. I feel that. No, I agree. Especially the Claire thing. I definitely think should have been at least like a mention to it, or some maybe like a an easier version of her boss early on, just to, like, a quick glimpse. You know what I mean? But then like you could like get the unlock one that you talked about later on or something. That would have been pretty cool because I honestly did not remember that there was uh an older sister. And also, actually, I never unlocked all the rooms
The
in
manor.
that one in the
Yeah.
manor. Yeah, that's another thing.
Yeah, I
What do
mean,
you get for doing that? Do you get anything?
I didn't unlock every single room in the manor. Um,
Do you get something for that?
I I couldn't tell you.
I can only assume so, right?
You have so they did a good job of giving you like outfits and like
Yeah, they did.
hairstyles
They
and
did.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, even in my second playthrough, I really wanted to try and get everything. But there comes a certain point of exhaustion where, like, okay,
Of
like
course.
I feel like I did everything I had to do. Like, I've played this game twice already. Like, it's time. I feel like I've gotten enough. And,
Yeah.
maybe down the road I'll revisit it and do like a new game plus or something. But um, it becomes very easy.
Tedious.
It
Yeah.
becomes very easy the later you get. Like, my characters I was almost at level 99. I almost had my stats maxed out. I had Everybody had like over 250 Lumina points. Like, I could essentially equip them with whatever I wanted. And my build with Verso, like the build I had on Verso, I had the cheater Picto, which essentially allows you to play twice in a row. So you
Hmm.
would do your turn and then do it again. And then I had the Energy Master Picto, which is basically like anytime you would gain AP, you gain that many plus like twice as much. So you double your AP gain. So I had Verso to a point where I would just do attacks with Verso and he would have 9 AP every single time and S rank and never drop below S rank. And then it would just keep using his super strong skill, and it was like, okay, it gets to the point where you break the game and the game
Yeah.
becomes super easy. Now, what I will say is they added in a challenge mode, kind of, where you could go in and change the settings on like your damage cap. So like, obviously quad 9, so 9999 is basic max damage until you break the damage limit
Yeah.
with painted power, which you get after you beat the paintress.
Yeah.
And then you could do like millions of damage, which is crazy. But then there's a multiplier for like enemy HP, so you can multiply their HP like by 100 times if you want to make it more difficult for yourself. So they added like quality of life things to make it more challenging. But the game doesn't really have like what's that word, like playability after you've kind of done everything. Like, there is
Yeah.
no DLC, which we've gotten accustomed to now, like how games are, like they always add DLC later on.
Sure.
So
Even
it's
Pokemon.
Yeah, exactly. So like there, once the game is completed, it's completed and you could just do another run. Which is fine. I don't think every game needs DLC. I rather them not give me DLC and just give me a banger sequel, you know?
Yeah. Well, question:
Mm-hmm.
will there be a DLC for Rebirth?
No. They're done
That
with Rebirth. Rebirth is done.
okay, because I know that they did a DLC
For remake.
for. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no. Rebirth is done. They're already I think the part 3 got announced as it's going to be called Return.
Oh, okay.
Um yeah, I think I think you're going to slowly start seeing DLC kind of phase out a little bit. Spider-Man 2 didn't have any DLC.
That's
Um
true, actually. Now that you said that.
which I think that was a hugely missed opportunity. But then again, they did have that huge leak over at Insomniac, which is probably why there was no DLC. But I think you're gonna slowly start to see games not have DLC, because if you think about it, yeah, a DLC is, we still have to pay for it, but it's an extension of a current game. They could just save that DLC and be like, we'll just make another game and just put it in the next game.
Facts.
So I think you're going to start seeing less and less of that. I know Final Fantasy 16 had DLC. They had 2 DLC packs. I didn't play them.
Me neither.
but I heard that one of them was like for you get Leviathan in it, which is cool. The Leviathan's always been a fan favorite when it comes to summons and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, all in all, like, this game is going to be talked about. Like when people start talking to have conversations about greatest games of all time or like their top 10, like I said, I just did a top 10 favorite games of all time with a buddy of mine, and Clair Obscur just barely didn't make my list because it's too new. And I know that's a shitty reason to keep it off of my list.
What a boomer.
Right? But like it's all like I only played it twice, and for it to be one of my favorite games of all time, like I don't know, it didn't feel right putting it on there. But quality wise, I can make the argument that yeah, it'll end up on there very soon.
I'm curious, what was your 10?
From lowest to highest, it was Galaga, Sonic 2. Actually, I think I have my list here. Let me just pull it up real quick so I don't get anything mixed up. It was a bunch of different games, a variety of games. So yeah, Galaga, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, MLB Slugfest, Need for Speed Underground 2, Pokemon Soul Silver, Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3,
yes, sir.
Halo 2, Guitar Hero 3, Batman Arkham City, and Final Fantasy 8. That was my top 10.
All right, well, I can tell you this. Galaga gotta go.
Well, again,
it gotta go.
So I explained to my buddy Drew. I explained to him. I was like, the way I went about making my list was the games that were like impactful. Galaga was the first arcade game I ever played. I wasn't a Pac-Man kid. Like the laundromat that my parents used to go to didn't have a Pac-Man machine. It had a Galaga machine, and I played Galaga at laundromats, and even now today, like when I see cabinets with Galaga, I always play it. And so that's kind of like how I made my list, like impactful games throughout my life. And then Sonic 2 being number 9 on there. Sega Genesis was the first console I ever had. Sonic 2 was obviously leaps and bounds better than Sonic 1. So that's just kind of like how I made my list. Okay. But it was the list of top 10 favorite games. It wasn't a list of top 10 greatest games I've ever played. Okay. Because if I'm looking at it objectively, Clair Obscur as a game is better than every single game on that list. Yeah. So it was one of those things where like maybe I'll go back and do a top 10 greatest games I've ever played list, which I think that would be a really difficult list to come up with because most of the greatest games I've ever played are RPGs.
Kingdom Hearts 2. Oof.
I mean, Kingdom Hearts 2 is technically an RPG. It's an action RPG, but it's technically an RPG.
I would if we were to do this, I would classify it under there.
Yeah.
Personally.
Kingdom Hearts 2 would probably be on my top 10 somewhere.
Yeah, me too. Easily.
Yeah. And then, but then, is my top 10 going to be like 6 Final Fantasy games and then 4? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd have to really like sit down. I'd have to really sit down and like, okay, top 10 greatest games of all time, that I've ever played.
Mass Effect 2, Xenosaga 1, 2, 3, Final Fantasy. No.
Yeah, you see, like, so I feel like that would be a much, maybe top 5 greatest games of all time would be easier because I feel like 10 is just a lot.
10 is a lot, so I would definitely be picking, like, if I was a kid, I'd pick like my favorite from the series, like that I really mess with.
I mean, I mean, for me, like if I'm doing right now, like if you were to put me on the spot, Clair Obscur is probably the greatest game I've ever played, and then Final Fantasy X would be on there for sure. And then I don't know. I'd have to really sit down and like really look at it and like. Again, I still play to this day and have played so many RPGs that it's like, do I have to do if I do a top 5 greatest games of all time? Do I limit it to specific genres?
That's see that's what makes it.
Like, am I only allowed to have one RPG on there? Because then, okay, so like, if I'm only gonna do one RPG, is it Clair Obscur? Is it Final Fantasy X? Is it Chrono Trigger? Like Chrono Trigger, even though it came out in '95, I played it in 2025. I played Chrono Trigger in 2025, and I still think it's one of the greatest games I've ever played. And it came out 30 years ago.
Yeah, that game was OD, bro.
That game was so good.
Imagine it was remade, like
Oh
just
my god, dude!
remastered.
I
I
would.
just need a remaster. It doesn't have to be like
They
fucking
should
like.
do. They should do a. They should do an HD 2D remaster.
Yeah, dude, I'm excited for the Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD remaster.
Yep.
Like that's be awesome.
They should do it like that. But like, dude, would I love to see a remake of Chrono Trigger? Like they, if they gave Chrono Trigger the Final Fantasy VII remake treatment, I would love to see that. That would be awesome. But then again, I would love to see that for Final Fantasy VIII. I would love to see that for so many games, like so many games. I would love to see that. So
Bro, I've been waiting for Final Fantasy 9 to get something because they're like, oh, it's the 25th year anniversary this year, making a whole big deal. They had a whole conference thing and absolutely crickets. Nothing
unfortunately,
about a remaster. Nothing.
unfortunately, because Final Fantasy VII is the
Yeah.
favorite child, they're not going to do anything until the last one is done. Like, especially if they continue to do just single teams for it. Like, if they start, like assigning different
Branching off.
teams, different games, then that's totally different. Until the new like remake trilogy for Final Fantasy VII is over,
That's what
like
it was.
unless they start like branching stuff out, like I don't see them, because it's all Square Enix, right? Like
Yeah.
Chrono Trigger now, anyway, it's not Squaresoft anymore, but Chrono Trigger now would be Square Enix. Final Fantasy IX is Square Enix. Legend of Dragoon is Square Enix, right?
I think they produced it. I don't think they made it. I think it
But
was
like
someone.
now, they would have the rights to it now,
I
though.
think so. Oh, dude, man, don't get me started.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's so funny because we all want remakes of games that are made by the same like it's all Square Enix.
Dude, I
Like
will never, I will never forget, bro. I love Square Enix so much. Shout out to our teacher, uh, Mrs. Piro, because we actually did we had to send out letters one time when we were like in seventh, eighth grade, and I ended up sending out a letter to Square Enix after playing Final Fantasy X, and they actually responded back,
oh,
and
that's sick.
bro, I wish I still had that letter. I don't know where it is, but I will never forget bringing it in, and I don't know if you remember Mikey Serbo because he was
Yeah.
also a secret Final Fantasy X fan. Because him and I were geeking out. He had the fucking strategy guide and everything. I'll never forget. We were geeking out about that shit, and then like Corey and Nick, they couldn't believe it that he was into it because it was us, like us nerds,
Yep.
and then Mikey was always the cool guy, right? But I'll never forget we were talking about that shit, bro. Like he brought the strategy guide, and like so like when I brought that letter, bro, like and they gave me like a whole bunch of like Final Fantasy X merch, like just like a shirt and
That's
just some
awesome.
like, and it was just so cool, right? And like I'll never forget like the like having that moment, like that shit was crazy, and that's because of fucking video games, right? Like that's and these stories that touched me, that touched us, that shaped us to who we are today, and who we continue to be, and
Yeah.
and that's what Claire Obscur did, and continues to do, and like they break the mold, and I can't wait to see what they do. I can't wait to see how RPGs and storytelling in games evolve from here, because this definitely impacted a lot of people, and I do hope it wins Game of the Year,
Right. Right.
'cause it definitely
I
deserves it.
I think there's so many things that you said now that I just want to touch on. But the first thing I want to touch on before we start wrapping it up here, I think a Game of the Year win for Clair Obscur Expedition 33 does a lot more for itself than any other game that's in the category, because it goes to show that the only thing that matters is passion, right? Like it doesn't matter that they sold 3.3 million copies in a month. That doesn't matter. I mean, it matters. It matters to some people, but it doesn't matter to us. The
Hmm.
people that they made the game for, I don't care how many units you sold. I just want the game to be good. I want to have some emotion brought out of me. I want to have a good experience. Like that's what we look for. Like when we decompress from our real lives, we're trying to have some type of enjoyment. So I think winning game of the year for Clair Obscur would mean a lot more for Sandfall than it would mean for any other developer.
Yeah.
Um, I also want to touch on what you said about Mikey Serbo being a closet Final Fantasy fan. Uh, for those who are watching, there was a time where being a nerd was not cool. It was
Oh no,
not.
definitely not.
It was not. It was not in, and I was also a closet nerd. Like I was an athlete my entire life. I played sports. I was a jock, whatever. But when I was home, I would go home and rush home to watch Toonami at 4 o'clock every day after school to watch
Yes,
Dragon
sir.
Ball. And, I played Yu Gi Oh! And, collected Pokemon cards and read comic books. But I did that in the privacy of my own home because it didn't feel safe to share that with a lot of people. And to this day, like outside of like you and like the couple of friends that I have right now, and like obviously my wife and kids, like a lot of the friendships that I had growing up, they weren't real friendships because they didn't really know the things that I liked to do or the things that I enjoyed on a personal level, which is weird that you would hear that now and think that somebody actually had to do that, but that's just how we got by. That's just how we kind of blended into what was expected of us. And
Oh, of
I
course.
love I love now that being a nerd is so mainstream and it's so accepted that nerd culture has really taken over the world. Like there are more nerds in this world now than there have ever been.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
listen, video games, comic books, movies, that's all nerd shit. Like I don't care who you are, like that is nerd shit.
Anime,
Yeah,
and
yeah, that's all nerd
yeah,
shit. Like that's
yeah, yeah.
nerd shit. So like, oh yeah, like it's cool to be a nerd now in 2025, which is great. Like I feel great for my people that they have acceptance now in society. Like Comic Cons are bigger than anything in the world. Cosplaying is a huge thing. I've never been a cosplayer myself, but the fact that people have that outlet and are able to do that without being judged is amazing
Hmm.
to me.
No, yeah.
And then the last thing you said about Square Enix and you reaching out to them. Um, a lot of those companies, listen, people write fan mail to athletes and companies all the time. How often are those companies or people answering back? You know, and
Yeah.
and say what you want. Square Enix is a huge company now, and uh, it might overlook some things or it might make decisions that we aren't always happy with. But at the end of the day, you're talking about a company who their last ditch effort to avoid bankruptcy was to create a banger of a game, and they did it with the first Final Fantasy on the Nintendo. If it wasn't for that, that company would not be here today. So
Mm.
it just goes to show you again that passion, and yeah, sometimes passion gets lost along the way. The
Happens.
higher up you climb the corporate ladder, the more your passion kind of goes away. But I hope, if anything, if anything happens, I hope that Clair Obscur can show game developers like Square Enix or whoever that it doesn't always need to have the biggest budget, or it doesn't always need to have the best graphics or the highest paid voice actors. Like as long as like-minded people come together and create art that they're passionate about, I think that's the only thing that really matters at the end of the day.
No, agreed. And I will say, like, for the case of Square Enix, I do wish that with Final Fantasy VII remake, I do wish that like all these parts were like already made, because like the wait is what's really killing it. Because like I play the original and like I'm like just tell me when I could play the whole thing. I'm not trying to
Mm-hmm.
play, you know. part one, part two, part three, and then replay them how many times, like you know. So that's definitely a big turnoff. But like I do feel the passion from that game when when I wasn't burnt out from playing it before.
Right.
But like man, if they somehow go to 16, bro, and it's like goes back to turn based but a blend with some action or like some form of like how clear oh dude, I'd be so happy, bro.
Yeah.
Like
I think a
that's
lot of
all
people
I
would
want.
be.
Yeah, I just want that from Square. Just go back to your roots real quick, but like, updated of course, but like not like real nice.
Well, we've been talking for a good amount of time. I
Yeah,
feel like we definitely got our points across, and we hit a lot of topics I'd like to talk about. So I just want to say thank you for, coming on and having this conversation with me, and
of course.
thanks for finishing the game, of course, so that we had
Yeah.
something to talk about. And hopefully, hopefully the games that continue to come out have an emphasis on quality. I mean,
um,
I think that games are getting so expensive now. $70-$80 for a game is kind of crazy. It is still probably the most bang for your buck form of media that if you can think of, because it's a one time payment and you get hours of enjoyment out of it. So
it's
there's
true.
there's still, like, if you're gonna quantify it, there's still that number there, but it doesn't take an $80 game AAA title blow your socks off to really get that. And that's what games like Clair Obscur have done. That's what games like Hollow Knight Silksong, that game's $20. So it doesn't matter. Like, I really just hope that developers continue to put an emphasis on quality,
Yeah.
and passion. And I think that will show, and I think that will resonate with a lot of people, and I think that will lead to tons of success. So we're going to get on out of here. We're going to leave the dad cave. We have a lot of crime fighting to do. But before we leave, again, anybody who's watching this, if you want to see Roberto's content, check out his YouTube channel, his podcast. I will have links and stuff in the description down below. And this is going to be the first of many episodes on this podcast. Thank you guys so much for watching. And until the next time, I am Dadman.
Peace.